So guys, I thought that the most pathetic thing I saw on social media this weekend was the Barbie Dream Fest that took place in Florida, or maybe I should say attempted to take place, like failed utterly. And then I saw photos of Cpac. And suddenly, Barbie Dream Fest did not look so pathetic. And shocker, and maybe this is a controversial opinion, but I don't really think that the podcast wars did this. Now, before we dive into today's story, I actually want to ask you guys a question. What do you think MAGA stands for these days? Like, I'm interested in reading your comments. Like, do you still identify with MAGA? Do you think it still represents the same thing that it did in 2016, 2020, or even 2024? This is a debate that I've been seeing in comment sections on X. It's something Alex and I have been talking about a lot, and I think it's really relevant to what we are discussing today. And I'm genuinely just interested in where you guys stand. So we're going to do a little bit of my own polling today. I don't know if you guys saw, but CNN was like, 100% of MAGA approves of everything Trump is doing, 100% approval rating. And I was like, oh, okay, well then am I still MAGA? I don't know. Anyway, just let me know. I'm excited to read your comments. All right, moving into today's story, we certainly are in the era of failed conventions. 2 years ago, we had the infamous Willie's chocolate experience that happened in Scotland. There was the woman in the crazy green wig doing the potions. Of course, there was Firefest, TanaCon, which was Tana, how do you even pronounce her last name? Module, whatever it is, that was her alternative to VidCon. There was, of course, DashCon, which was some kind of like Tumblr conference where the only amenity they offer people was a blow-up ball pit. Anyway, the point is, this weekend, and you might have seen this on social media, there was a festival that was put on in Fort Lauderdale called Barbie's Dream Fest. And it was just the latest in a long line of overhyped and underdelivered events. And the tickets cost a whopping $250. And now this event was supposed to have Serena Williams winning like this girl boss feminism award. Angel Reese was supposed to be there. They were going to have inspiring panels on girlhood and womanhood, glam bars and photo shoots and fashion shows. They were even going to have yoga and disco and a marketplace and all of these things. It was for moms, daughters, sisters, babies, everyone. It was just a place to celebrate Barbie and womanhood. But when the guests arrived, this is what they got instead. A 20 by 20 cutout of turf that they probably bought that morning at Lowe's, and a Barbie dream house that looked like they ordered it off of Temu. Now, they also had a roller rink that was literally just like concert barrier fencing, sectioning off a part of the concrete floor that literally looked like an ER trauma surgeon's dream. Like, already in that photo, if we zoom in a little bit, there is somebody going down head first onto straight concrete. They also then had the Barbie marketplace that they were talking so highly about. I don't even have like a great analogy for that because it's so depressing and empty. Like, these people seriously got bamboozled. The Financial Times wrote about it and how it was just an utter calamity, as Link Lauren would say, an utter disaster. And they wrote, the larger-than-life interactive dream house was a one-dimensional cutout with a stretch of artificial grass, a picnic blanket, 2 pink chairs, and a camper van. The 80s disco roller rink, where the program promised fans could glide under neon lights, was 10 metal barricades arranged in a rectangle. No neon lights, no decor, no disco. Had Billie Eilish written a theme song for Barbie Dream Fest, as she did for the 2023 Barbie movie, she might have changed the title from What Was I Made For to What Have I Paid For? And that, my friends, might be the best line that a journalist has ever written. I mean, guys, it was so bad that people on Reddit were saying that they left early despite having flown to Florida for this event and paying for a 3-day pass. This person said, I'm there too. I was going to stay through Sunday. I changed my flight to leave tomorrow morning. It is so sad how terrible it is there. I don't want to come back tomorrow, actually. I was upstairs and I heard staff members voicing concerns about all of the canceled guests and programming. Yeah, your concern, I guess, should be the canceled guests, but you should have been concerned about the programming before people got there. That's something you think about before people start changing their flights to leave Barbie Fest. Now, you guys know I love this stuff. I've done so many episodes on Firefest and the Willie's chocolate experience. Like, I just love chaos online. So this absolutely consumed my feed this weekend. It was all up in my algorithm. I could not stop laughing as more and more photos were coming out of girls in pink dresses and empty conference centers. And then, LOL, I realized that half of the photos were of Cpac. I was scrolling through and I was like, oh my God, there's literally nobody here. And then I realized I was looking at Cpac. These are photos from Vanity Fair. Guys, I genuinely thought that some of this was BarbieCon, but no, it's Cpac. Like, oops. My bad. Honest mistake, I guess, because based on the photos and videos online, Cpac looked about as dead as Barbie Fest. Now, you might be like, Brett, I don't even know what you're talking about. What the actual F is Cpac? And honestly, guys, I had to ask myself that same question. Like, obviously, I knew that there was a conservative event called Cpac. I've watched people's speeches there before. I knew that it happened, but I didn't actually know what it was. And I didn't realize that until a couple of days ago. Vanity Fair reached out to me last week. They said, we're doing this article on Gen Z and Cpac, the modern conservative movement. We're sending reporters there. Could you give us your thoughts on the event? And I literally read that email and I was like, huh? I genuinely didn't know how to respond, which they actually printed. Just listen to this. I was cracking up. I didn't think that they would actually use this in the article. But they said, Brett Cooper, a 24-year-old conservative commentator with a YouTube show consisting of over 1.6 million subscribers, has recently been notably vocal about the war in Iran, particularly in what she sees as the lack of transparency in the administration's messaging. Very true. When asked why she didn't attend the conference this year, she said, ironically, I have no comment because I literally don't even know what Cpac is. And that is how I responded. And I was like, yeah, you're welcome to print that, but I have nothing to say. I have no context on what it was before, what it is now. I don't even know. Am I a bad conservative? Am I a bad conservative commentator? The only joy that I get out of these types of events these days is looking at the grinder surge in the area after the events take place to get a good laugh. But this time, there weren't even enough people there to have a grinder surge. Anyway, moving on from that, just had to throw that in there. Like I said, I knew that Cpac was some big event, conference. I have never attended. I don't think I've ever been invited. I'm not sure. I don't remember if I have. And literally, guys, my only experience with Cpac in any capacity whatsoever is that 4 years ago, one of my best friends, one of my bridesmaids, she attended Cpac. She went to network for her job. She ended up having her drink spiked and woke up outside of her hotel. In the grass outside of her hotel. It is a true story. Horrifying story. But yeah, I never went. I definitely did not go after that was her experience because, again, horrifying. And then on top of that, until this weekend, I did not know what the acronym stood for. I did not know that it was put on by a super PAC. Genuinely, I was living in the dark. And based on the rest of that article from Vanity Fair, based on the response online from my generation about what they saw at Cpac or did not see because they chose not to go, I do not think I am alone in this feeling. But I do have to be fair and say that I don't think anyone was as alone as the people actually attending Cpac because, my friends, it was so dead. Just take a look at these videos here.
Giving them a platform, giving them a voice. These are the people that work hard every day that come home with grease on their hands after working double shifts. And these are the people like my family that get hurt.
I mean, half of the chairs are empty. Here's another one.
Strong sanctions by the Trump administration against Supreme Court justices and officials of National Election Commission.
That last one is the greatest video that I saw this weekend. It tops everything coming out of Barbie Fest. It is the best video out of Cpac. Let's just zoom in here for a moment. Look at this man. He's sitting in a sea of empty chairs. It's not even people have gotten up to leave the event, to go get a drink, whatever. The brochures, the programs are unmoved on the chairs. Nobody's butts have touched those chairs. He's sitting there in a half-empty conference hall, totally asleep. That might be the most perfect image for politics right now. You have empty chairs, boomers who are asleep at the wheel. This is the generation that wants us to put boots on the ground in Iran, and they cannot even stay awake enough to hear the speeches with all the propaganda. That is how tired they are. You should not be making our decisions about foreign policy and where our military goes. I'm sorry, you literally cannot even stay awake. Now, obviously, to be fair, Even though I think most of the chairs were empty, there were people who did show up, and there were people at the conference who were very bought in to the messaging and to the ideas. Like, these are the videos that Trump's team is probably showing him to encourage him to make more questionable decisions. Just watch.
I started off pretty upset with the war. I have an 18-year-old son, so that really hit close to home. We had to get him registered for the selective service and everything, and so I wasn't happy about it. But then I saw these 3 boys that were publicly hung in Iran. That regime has been threatening Americans and has been killing Americans for years. If my son was called to go, I would still support the war.
Listen, I mean, she is allowed to feel that way. I certainly do not. She is allowed to wear her bedazzled, rhinestoned Trump jacket with her MAGA hat and say that if her son was sent off to war to do regime change, that is her right. But I certainly do not agree. Now, I do have to say, this next video, it might top even that one.
He is a president of peace. So this is to bring peace in the area. When this gets taken care of, it's going to be peace. And it's what I believe. I'm on Truth Social. That's the only social media I do. And I believe that he's going to have, bring peace, and it's going to be very short. And he's got a plan. He's a genius.
There's always a plan. There's always a plan. I do have to say, I appreciate these people because I want there to be a plan. Like I have said since the beginning, like I would rather Trump be doing this than some other president, because if we're going to go to war in the Middle East, like I trust him like a little bit more. I hope there's a plan. But now, like 6 weeks into this, when the goalpost has been shifted, when now we're backtracking on why we're there, I'm like, I really don't know if there's a plan. Maybe she should get off of Truth Social. Like, I'm just being honest, guys, about where my mind is going. But also, I just have to go back to this idea of, like, Trump watching these videos. Like, can you just imagine his next Truth Social post of, like, this beautiful lady, she loves me, MAGA loves me, the brilliant base of MAGA has never been more united. P.S. Go watch Mark Levin's show. It's gonna be like, oh my God. I want to literally like put my head in the sand. Okay, anyway, that was a low blow. I had to, sorry. Moving on. Anyway, the point is, there just weren't that many people there. Some were bought in, but honestly, people just didn't show up. And there are a lot of people pointing fingers right now and trying to blame shit. But I think, honestly, a lot of that was probably because of the economy. It's expensive to travel right now. It's not pleasant to travel right now. Everything is more expensive, especially thanks to what is going on overseas. So I think that was probably a contributing factor. But I think maybe even more than that, a lot of it is because people are just exhausted right now. Like, they're not bought in. They are not united by a common goal or a mission or a positive, like, light at the end of the tunnel that they see. Like, the enemy isn't even the left anymore. It's just each other. And even more than that, I feel like there's just a general sense of apathy. So if I could maybe give us all something to fight against, I would say that it would be toxic skincare, which is why you need tallow from a mallow. Now, if you know me, then you know that I am obsessed with beef tallow, specifically tallow from my friends over at Mallow. And yes, I even got Alex to start using it. It has been a staple in our house for years now. Now, in case you were wondering, tallow is literally just rendered beef fat packed with the same fatty acids and nutrients that your skin naturally uses. It absorbs, it hydrates, and it helps your skin stay balanced without all of the unnecessary and toxic ingredients that are stuffed into most synthetic moisturizers that simply do not deliver. I have tried basically every kind of moisturizer on the market. Nothing compares to tallow. And while tallow is definitely popular and trendy right now, this is not just some new skincare fad, because tallow has been used to support skin for hundreds of years. And out of all the brands out there, Mallow is the one that I trust. They are a small family-owned business making everything in the USA with grass-fed tallow and organic essential oils. It is clean, it's minimal, it's small batch, and most importantly, it is effective. And they have launched so many amazing products that your skin and body will love on top of their standard tallow. My newest favorite is their powdered cleanser. Oh my gosh, it is amazing. It's slightly exfoliating. It is officially part of my new nightly routine. They also have deodorant. They have like a sunscreen out. It is so fantastic. So if you've been on the fence, this is your sign and you can grab it along with their other non-toxic products with a special 15% discount at amalo.com/Cooper using code Cooper15. Again, amalo.com/Cooper, Cooper15. And don't just take care of the outside of your body. You have to take care of what is on the inside too. And you can do that with my friends over at Jevity. Now, Jevity cuts through the noise, and through comprehensive blood work, functional medical care, and personalized regimens, they can help you transform your health. They will have a phlebotomist literally come to your house to do blood work that covers 100 plus biomarkers, and then your personalized care team through Jevity looks at your labs and tells you exactly what is going on and what you could do about it. I literally got a 30-minute movie about what was going on inside of my body, and now I can literally just text back and forth with my practitioner as we make a plan. From there, Jevity will build you custom supplements based on what your blood work shows that you need, so there is no more guesswork, no shots in the dark, just fact-based protocols perfectly designed for you. So if you're the type of person who needs receipts, who needs to see the evidence before you buy or believe something, this is literally tailor-made for you. It literally is made for you. Go to gojevity.com/BrettCooper, code Brett for 20% off. Again, that is GOGEVITI.com/BrettCooper. Get the receipts on your own health. All right, now back to the point and what was happening at Cpac. Again, the enemy is each other. There was so much apathy. And, I was watching all of these speeches and I was like, yeah, okay, well, we could be thinking positively about the future, fighting for the midterms, because obviously those are coming up and it doesn't feel like it's going to be that great for us. But barely anybody who got on stage actually talked about that. Like, for example, Josh Hammer was the speaker. And by the way, I just have to say, I had never heard of this man until we started talking about Charlie Kirk's group chats. And I am positively exhausted by him now. Did not care to know about him. My life is not made better by knowing. I'm sorry. Again, low blow. Just had to say. Anyway, he was a speaker. And he just talked about other people. Just watch.
The retard right denizens of Podcastistan reject the fundamental essence, however, of MAGA. Much like the neo-Marxist left, the retard right doesn't think America was ever great. And they certainly don't think that America is capable of being made great once again. They are therefore explicitly anti-MAGA.
You got the gist of it. His entire speech was about the retard right and Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson and all the things. I just have to say, it is ironic that he was saying that those people were never really MAGA when Josh Hammer himself was a never Trumper. So let's just pipe down, sir. Anyway, moving on from that, I really just played that clip of Josh Hammer so that I could show you my favorite tweet from the weekend. This is from Redheaded Libertarian, and she said, Cpac planning meeting. Guy 1, how do we appeal to the kids? Guy 2, gay vampires? You have my attention. I'm sorry. I had no idea until I read that tweet how much Josh Hammer looks like the little vampire from Sesame Street. Just look him up. You'll see. Anyway, needless to say, the other point that I'm trying to make here is that Josh Hammer didn't really bring in a crowd. The man was talking to chairs. And to be honest, guys, so was Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was preaching to chairs about how Venezuela and Cuba and Iran will all have new governments. New amazing governments in the next 6 months. Just watch.
Today we have a greater chance that in the next 6 months we will see a new government in Venezuela, in Cuba, and in Iran.
Interesting. Based on my memory of MAGA and what that stood for, I really thought we were supposed to be America first and that we were against regime change as a coalition. But maybe I'm just the crazy one. Now, to be fair, I am not just here to crap on those two men, even though obviously doing that has become a staple on my show, specifically with Ted Cruz, because the real point that I want to make here is that no one showed up for anyone on either side of the modern conservative right. For example, not for Bannon, as you can see here, empty chairs in front of him as well. Not even for Matt Gaetz, who essentially gave the exact opposite speech as Ted Cruz in regards to Iran and foreign policy. Again, empty chairs everywhere. Now, I am showing you all of this just so you have the full picture of what the event looked like, because if you went on X, you probably would have seen people saying things like this. Apparently, Cpac is empty this year. Curious how this keeps happening to groups that align themselves with the post-liberals and the new right influencer scene, aka, thanks Josh Hammer, the retard right, America First, non-Zionist, groypers, whatever you want to call them. And then you have that same side, the retard right, saying, LMAO, boo, this is because of Ted Cruz and Josh Hammer. They did this. They ruined Cpac. Like, I'm sorry. Controversial opinion. Maybe everybody ruined it. Maybe everyone is just too busy with their normal lives. Maybe they are just too busy trying to make ends meet in this economy. Maybe they are hoping that we do not get dragged into another decades-long regime change war in the Middle East. Maybe they are hoping that we don't hit $200 oil. And maybe they just couldn't be bothered because of all of that to attend this convention. Maybe they aren't fired up right now and they don't really think any of these people could actually fire them up. Maybe they are demoralized and checked out, because in a lot of ways, that's how I feel. Like, I used to get behind this microphone, like back on comment section leading up to the 2024 election, and I was so excited to talk about politics. I had so much hope. There was so much unity. You had this like incredible coalition. Like, I remember getting chills watching the insane Trump ad where they talked about unity, and you had Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. and JD Vance and Kash Patel and Trump, and he was talking about strength through peace. And he was talking about unity with the left and the right and a positive hope for America. And I'm like, where did that feeling go? And why am I sitting here every day going, oh my God, like, what am I going to talk about today? Because everything just seems so depressing. And it's all ironic because then you have the admin posting things like MAGA is 100% behind Donald Trump. Trump has a 100% approval rating with MAGA. And that's kind of why I was asking you guys that question at the beginning, because it's like, okay, then what actually is MAGA now? Because I have like 10 MAGA hats. I would have considered myself MAGA, but I'm not giving Trump a 100% approval rating personally. Maybe you guys are. I personally am not. Like, who actually identifies with that anymore? And I'm not saying that in a rhetorical way of like, who could identify, but like actually, who is that base? Because the last time I checked, Trump said that MAGA was just the people who always agreed with it based on Truth Social posts, so I don't even know what to think anymore. So yeah, I would say that this whole weekend, watching it unfold on social media was disheartening, but also not completely surprising. Like, I am not shocked at all that most of these speakers were speaking to empty chairs. And honestly, I kind of feel like a total buffoon. I don't know if that's the right word to say. Maybe it's just that I think it's ironic because literally this time last year, like March and February of last year, I was making all of these videos about how the left was having this massive crisis, an authenticity crisis. They didn't have a leader. They had no positivity. There was no unity, which was why they failed in 2024. And that kind of unity and genuine joy, not the fake Kamala joy, but the genuine joy is what, in my opinion, like emotionally pushed Trump over the finish line for so many voters in 2024. And then a year later, here I am feeling demoralized and disheartened, watching Cpac unfold online, looking like a red, white, and blue Barbie dream fest. Meanwhile, at the exact same time, this is what the No Kings protest looked like across America. And I know that we have made a lot of jokes about the No Kings protest from earlier this year. The geriatric women, dressed like frickin' tacos, dancing in the streets. The people in wheelchairs rolling out of their assisted living facilities to come protest on the streets. But I don't know what they did, but they pulled it together. They pulled it together, and while Cpac was dwindling, they were literally roaring in the streets. Now, granted, I'm sure that a lot of them are still MSNBC boomers, but we cannot write off millions of people taking to the streets. And so I'm watching all this unfold, and I'd love to sit here and go, okay, guys, well, we gotta fight back. Let's mobilize. Let's, focus on the midterms. We gotta elect great people. We gotta push through Trump's agenda. All of that. We need to elect amazing people. But we did that. We did that in 2024 when Trump won. That meant the Republicans, this new movement of conservatives, had the presidency, the House, the Senate. We had a conservative majority in the Supreme Court. And what have they gotten done? Like, it doesn't feel like we're winning. Like, for example, Doge was not even able to last a year. It was supposed to be an 18-month program, and it only lasted until May of last year. Meanwhile, just a couple of months ago, Minority Leader Chuck Schumer boasted that he had bipartisan support to reverse all of those Doge cuts and spend even more money in an upcoming spending bill. That doesn't make me feel great. Now, obviously, I have to be fair. There are things that I have been really happy with, especially regarding HHS and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., everything he did with vaccines. I liked a lot of Trump's executive orders, but I do wish Congress had been able to, codify more of them without just smushing them together in massive spending bills that spend more than Doge even, attempted to cut. I obviously don't really feel great about what's happening globally at the moment, but I just wanted to put that out there because I'm not totally doom and gloom, but emotionally I'm not really in a fighting spirit. Now, all of that being said, I will say I am not one of those people that is going to sit here and say opt out, don't vote, go vote for Democrats. I think that is ridiculous. Obviously, I am not in support of that. But I do understand people tuning out, why they feel demoralized and why they might even go so far as to say those things, even though I don't agree with them. And yes, obviously, there are podcast wars that are raging. You have Mark Levin and Megyn Kelly yelling at each other on X about what's going on in each other's pants, which, unfortunately, horrifying that we all have to read that. But I don't think that they created what is going on right now in the real world. Yes, that is indicative of bigger debates in politics right now, but that is just drama that's going on in our weird little con ink bubble. Most people in the world are just done. Because life moves on. They have children to raise. They have bills to pay. They have jobs to go to that they hope are not taken by AI. And by the way, it isn't the podcaster's fault that the White House had Melania walk out with a robot talking about how AI should take over teachers' jobs. When everybody's reading about how AI is coming for all entry-level jobs and everybody's going to be out of work, the only people that are going to be able to have jobs are plumbers, that was probably not the best thing to promote. Just image-wise, even if that might be the future in 20 years, maybe we shouldn't be talking about that or promoting that when everybody feels so insecure and so scared about the future. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that yes, I do think that the podcast wars have created drama, but let's not pin the root of the problem on that. It goes a lot deeper, and I don't know how it'll turn out for us in the midterms. If Cpac is any indication, then yeah, we might be cooked. The next RNC might look like Firefest 2.0. I have no words.
Hi, gal. How you doing? So this is Nora.